First contact and deception. The shimmer in the sky above Beijing wasn't supposed to be there. Dr. Maya Patel stood on the observation deck of the World Space Coalition headquarters, her heart pounding as the atmospheric distortion grew larger. 20 years of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, and now they had arrived without warning. The massive ship that emerged from the distortion looked like polished obsidian, its surface rippling with iridescent patterns that seemed to follow no logical sequence. As similar ships appeared over major cities worldwide, Earth's military forces held their fire, following long-established first contact protocols. Dr. Patel's quantum computers worked overtime analyzing the vessel's energy signatures, while global leaders prepared for humanity's first diplomatic exchange with an alien civilization. The Kraxan, as they called themselves, appeared elegant and advanced. Their ambassador, a tall humanoid figure with silvery skin and flowing robes, spoke of peace and cultural exchange. "We come as friends," Ambassador Nexer announced to the United Nations Assembly. "The Kraxan Empire spans 1,000 worlds, and we seek to welcome Earth into our collective of advanced civilizations." But Maya noticed something in the data that didn't add up. The energy readings from the Kraxan ships contained subtle variations that suggested their vessels were running at far higher power than needed for peaceful operations. She cross-referenced their diplomatic transmissions with their ship's power signatures and found microscopic discrepancies in timing. Working late one night in her lab, Maya discovered the truth hidden in the patterns. The Kraxan weren't broadcasting single messages. They were transmitting layered communications. Beneath their diplomatic overtures lay encrypted commands, and she had finally cracked their code. "They're mapping our biosphere," she explained to General Sarah Chen of the Pan-Asian Defense Force. "Every cultural exchange has been a cover for detailed scanning of Earth's biological diversity. They're not here for friendship. They're here for resources." The Kraxan Empire had evolved in a sector of space poor in biological complexity. Earth's rich biosphere represented an unprecedented treasure trove of genetic material they could use to engineer new weapons and technology. Their peaceful overtures were merely a pretext to catalog Earth's resources before taking them by force. Maya's discovery set in motion a plan that had existed only in theory. 23 years earlier, a small scout ship had crashed in the Atacama Desert. The world's governments had kept it secret, but they hadn't been idle. Teams of scientists had studied every aspect of the vessel, reverse engineering what they could while developing countermeasures against potential hostile technologies. General Chen activated the Avalon Protocol, a hidden network of defensive installations disguised as civilian infrastructure. As Maya watched the Kraxan ships continuing their deception, she felt a mix of sadness and determination. Humanity had hoped for peaceful first contact, but they weren't unprepared for war. The deception continued for 3 more weeks. The Kraxan offered technological gifts while secretly completing their survey of Earth's biosphere. They studied human responses, cataloged military capabilities, and prepared for what they assumed would be a swift conquest. They never noticed the quantum transmitters being activated in remote locations around the globe. They didn't detect the nanoscale modifications being made to existing satellite networks. Most importantly, they didn't realize that humans had already learned to decode their basic encryption methods from the crashed scout ship. When Ambassador Nexer finally announced the Kraxan's true intentions, demanding Earth's surrender and the right to harvest its biological resources, he expected shock and fear. Instead, he was met with a calm response that would haunt his people for generations to come. "We know who you are." Maya spoke from the UN podium, her voice steady. "We know what you want, and we've known since before you arrived." She paused, looking directly at the towering alien diplomat. "You studied our biology, our technology, our military capabilities, but you failed to study our history. You fail to understand that humanity has faced extinction-level threats before, and we're still here." Nexer's silvery skin rippled with color patterns that Maya now recognized as signs of agitation. "You cannot hope to resist. Our technological superiority is not as complete as you believe. Maya interrupted, nodding to General Chen. Across the globe, hidden defense systems powered up. Quantum shields shimmed into existence around major cities, their technology based on principles the Kraxan thought impossible for primitive humans to understand. You chose deception when you could have had truth. You chose conquest when you could have had alliance. Maya's words echoed through the assembly hall. Now you'll learn why every civilization that ever tried to subjugate humanity has failed. We don't just survive. We adapt, we evolve, and we overcome. The first shots weren't fired by either side. Instead, Earth's atmosphere itself seemed to come alive with webs of energy, the product of decades of secret preparation. The Kraxan ship's scanning systems suddenly went dark, their layered communications network disrupted by countermeasures humans had developed by studying their own scout ship. As Nexer's form began to fade, a sign of emergency teleportation, Maya delivered humanity's final message. You wanted our biological resources. You should have asked permission. Now you'll see what happens when Earth's most dangerous species is backed into a corner. Welcome to Earth. Welcome to war. The Kraxan ships retreated to high orbit, their perfect formations already adjusting for battle. But as they prepared to launch their first strike, their tactical computers failed to account for one crucial factor. Humans had spent their entire history fighting against superior forces. They had spent millennia perfecting the art of asymmetric warfare. And they were about to demonstrate just how dangerous a supposedly primitive species could be. The hidden advantage. The Kraxan's first orbital strike missed its targets entirely. Where their scans had shown military installations, they found only elaborate holographic decoys. Their precision-guided weaponry, designed to neutralize command centers, struck empty buildings while Earth's true defense network hummed safely beneath the surface. Colonel James Rodriguez watched the alien bombardment from inside Sanctuary Base, a vast underground complex carved into the Rocky Mountains. Decades ago, this facility had been built around the salvaged engine core of the crashed scout ship. Now it served as humanity's hidden sword and shield. Status report on the Chimera system, he commanded, his voice steady despite the artificial earthquake caused by another near miss from orbit. Dr. Elena Volkov, the lead engineer of Project Chimera, pulled up a holographic display showing a web of interconnected nodes spreading across the globe. The quantum entanglement network is holding at 98% efficiency. Every time they try to scan our defenses, all they see is what we want them to see. The Chimera system represented humanity's greatest technological leap forward, a defensive network based on the quantum principles they'd gleaned from the crashed ship. But humans hadn't simply copied the alien technology. They'd improved it, combining it with Earth's existing infrastructure in ways the Kraxan would never expect. Above them, the alien fleet grouped into attack formations that their tactical doctrine deemed optimal. The Kraxan relied heavily on swarm algorithms, each ship moving in perfect coordination with its neighbors. It was mathematically beautiful and utterly predictable. Launch Operation Broken Mirror, Rodriguez ordered. Across Earth's surface, thousands of seemingly innocuous satellites activated their hidden capabilities. These weren't the primitive communication relays the Kraxan had detected during their survey. Each one contained a scaled-down version of the quantum technology from the scout ship, modified by human engineers who had spent years thinking about how to fight this very battle. The satellites didn't attack the Kraxan ships directly. Instead, they created a cascading series of quantum distortions that played havoc with the alien swarm coordination. Ships that relied on perfect positioning suddenly found their navigation systems feeding them contradictory information. Their formation is breaking down, Elena reported, watching the chaos unfold. They're trying to compensate with their secondary systems. But she was interrupted by a massive tremor as the Kraxan launched a desperate counterattack. This time, they targeted population centers, hoping to force a quick surrender. But the quantum shields held, their energy barriers bending and flexing to disperse the alien weapon's power. They still think they're fighting a technologically inferior enemy, Rodriguez observed. They haven't realized that we've had 23 years to prepare for this moment. In orbit, the Kraxan fleet's perfect formation had devolved into chaos. Their ships, unable to maintain their precise positioning, were forced to fall back on individual combat protocols. It was exactly what humanity had planned for. Alina's team activated the second phase of their defense. The quantum network didn't just protect Earth, it learned. Each Kraxan attack was analyzed in real time, their patterns decoded and countered before they could fully form. Human AI systems, designed to be unpredictable, worked alongside human operators to create a defense that no purely logical enemy could comprehend. Signal from the Kraxan flagship, a communications officer announced. They're demanding to know how we acquired their technology. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Send them our response. On screens throughout the Kraxan fleet, a simple message appeared. We didn't steal your technology. We improved it. Humanity doesn't just adapt to new technologies. We make them our own. Your mistake wasn't underestimating our current capabilities. Your mistake was failing to understand our potential. The aliens' response came in the form of a new attack pattern. Their ships split into smaller groups, each adopting different tactics. It was an impressive display of tactical flexibility, by Kraxan standards. But humans had been fighting wars since before they understood the principles behind their weapons. Activate the Hydra protocol, Rodriguez commanded. Alina's fingers flew across her control panel. Hydra engaging. All systems responding. The Hydra protocol was humanity's masterstroke, a defense system that didn't just react to enemy attacks but evolved with each engagement. Based on principles of neural networks and quantum computing, it could generate countless defensive strategies simultaneously, implementing the most effective ones while discarding those that failed. The Kraxan ships found themselves fighting against an enemy that seemed to predict their every move. Their attempts at electronic warfare were turned back against them. Their precision strikes were absorbed or deflected. Every adaptation they made was countered before it could be fully deployed. They're pulling back, Alina announced, watching the alien fleet retreat to a higher orbit. Looks like they're regrouping for another attack. Rodriguez nodded. They'll be back. The Kraxan don't give up easily. But now they know this won't be the easy conquest they planned for. Sir, a junior officer called out, we're detecting power surges in their fleet. They appear to be charging their main weapons arrays. Let them come, Rodriguez said quietly. Every attack teaches our systems more about their capabilities. Every failure brings them closer to understanding what they're really fighting against. As the Kraxan fleet prepared for their next assault, Alina caught Rodriguez's eye. They still don't understand, do they? They think this is about technology. That's always been their weakness, Rodriguez agreed. They see our technology, our defenses, our countermeasures. But they don't see what makes it all work. Human ingenuity, human creativity, human determination. The underground command center hummed with activity as Earth's defenders prepared for the next round. The Kraxan had come expecting to find a primitive species ripe for conquest. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, a civilization that had spent its entire existence learning to fight, adapt, and overcome. And the real battle was just beginning. Unconventional warfare. Captain Maria Santos crouched in the ruins of downtown Singapore, her hybrid combat suit blending seamlessly with the rubble. Around her, a squad of guerrilla fighters waited in perfect silence. They weren't regular military. They were historians, architects, and engineers who had studied ancient warfare alongside modern combat tactics. Kraxan patrol approaching, whispered her second-in-command, Dr. Ahmed Khan, a quantum physicist who had traded his laboratory for the battlefield. 3 heavy units, standard search pattern. The alien machines moved with mechanical precision through the streets, their sensors sweeping for signs of human resistance. They were impressive pieces of technology. 12-foot-tall combat frames equipped with energy weapons and adaptive armor. They were also utterly predictable. Maria activated her neural link to the Chimera network. Strike Team Artemis. Execute Operation Echo. Across the city, Other teams moved into position. The Kraxan had expected to face a conventional military response. Instead, they found themselves fighting against an enemy that combined Stone Age tactics with bleeding-edge technology. The first sign that something was wrong came when the alien patrol's sensors began picking up human signatures everywhere. The readings appeared and disappeared randomly, creating a chaotic pattern that their targeting systems couldn't resolve. "Quantum ghost generators online," OMD reported. "They're trying to compensate." The ghost generators were one of humanity's most elegant innovations, devices that created quantum-level distortions in space-time, producing false sensor readings that even the most advanced alien technology couldn't distinguish from reality. The idea had come from studying ancient military deception tactics. As the Kraxan units attempted to track the phantom signals, Maria's team struck. Their weapons weren't the energy cannons the aliens expected. Instead, they used specially designed projectile weapons that exploited a weakness in the Kraxan's shield harmonics, a flaw discovered by studying debris from their initial orbital bombardment. The first alien unit fell before it could react, its shields penetrated by physically simple but quantumly complex ammunition. The second managed to turn and fire, but its targeting systems were still confused by the ghost signatures. The third began to broadcast a warning but was cut off as a precisely placed shot severed its communications array. 3 targets neutralized, Maria reported through the Chimera network. Begin salvage operations. This was another aspect of human warfare that the Kraxan hadn't anticipated. Every destroyed alien unit was immediately stripped for useful technology, its components integrated into Earth's growing arsenal. Humanity didn't just adapt to enemy weapons, they improved them. "Captain," OMD called out, "we're getting reports from other cities. The Kraxan are changing tactics. They're switching to area denial weapons." Right on cue, the sky above Singapore lit up with atmospheric disturbance as the alien fleet prepared to deploy their latest strategy. But Earth's defenders had been preparing for this too. "All units, activate sonic disruptors," Maria ordered. The disruptors were based on a primitive concept, using sound waves to affect physical objects. But humans had combined this basic principle with quantum technology to create weapons that could disrupt the very fabric of space-time. As the Kraxan's area denial field began to form, it encountered waves of sonic distortion that shattered its coherence. "They're adapting," OMD warned. "Energy signatures suggest they're preparing to deploy ground forces en masse." Maria smiled grimly. "Just as predicted. Signal command. We're ready for Phase 2. The Kraxan had assumed that destroying Earth's visible infrastructure would cripple human resistance. They didn't realize that the ruins of human cities had been transformed into elaborate traps. Every broken building contained hidden quantum relays. Every pile of rubble concealed sensor arrays and weapon emplacements. As alien dropships descended through the atmosphere, they encountered a defense network that seemed to defy physical laws. Quantum fields redirected their weapons fire. Temporal distortions caused their targeting systems to lag by crucial microseconds. And everywhere they turned, they faced humans fighting in ways their tactical databases couldn't predict. "Multiple Kraxan units advancing on the financial district," reported another team leader. "They're using their new adaptive armor." "Let them come," Maria replied. "Time to show them why humans studied ancient siege warfare alongside quantum mechanics." The trap was elegant in its simplicity. As the alien forces advanced, they found themselves channeled into pre-prepared killing zones. Their adaptive armor, designed to counter energy weapons, proved vulnerable to gravity manipulation fields combined with conventional explosives. Human defenders struck from impossible angles, using the 3-dimensional space of the urban environment in ways the Kraxan's linear tactical programming couldn't handle. "They're pulling back," OMD announced, regrouping at their landing zones. Maria watched through her enhanced vision as the alien forces retreated, leaving behind more valuable salvage. "Send in the recovery teams, and get me a link to command. They need to know the Kraxan are adapting faster than expected." The battle for Earth's cities had become a war of adaptation. Every Kraxan advance was met with a defense that combined ancient military principles with futuristic technology. Every alien retreat left behind pieces of technology that would be studied, improved, and turned against them. As night fell over Singapore, Maria's team regrouped in their underground base. The Kraxan would be back, probably with new weapons and tactics. But humans had spent their entire history learning from their enemies, adapting their strategies, and turning defeats into future victories. "Get some rest," she told her team. "Tomorrow, we show them another lesson in human warfare." In orbit, the Kraxan fleet commanders struggled to understand how their supposedly superior forces were being consistently outmaneuvered by primitive humans. They had yet to realize that they weren't just fighting against Earth's military. They were fighting against the accumulated military knowledge of thousands of years of human conflict. And humanity was just getting started. The neural network. Deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, Dr. Aisha Rahman stood before the core of Project Prometheus, humanity's ultimate defense system. The massive quantum computer complex wasn't just a machine. It was a hybrid of technology and human consciousness, built on a discovery that had changed everything. "Neural synchronization at 98%, she announced, watching as thousands of volunteer consciousness donors connected to the network. The Kraxan won't see this coming. The discovery had been accidental. While studying the crashed scout ship's quantum computer core, researchers had noticed it responded to human brainwave patterns in unexpected ways. Years of research had revealed that human consciousness itself generated quantum fields that could interface with and enhance alien technology. General Chen's voice came through the secure channel. "The Kraxan have launched their final offensive. They're throwing everything they have at us." On the massive holographic displays, Aisha watched as the alien fleet deployed their newest weapons. The Kraxan had finally realized they couldn't win through conventional warfare, so they had resorted to their most devastating technology: reality warping devices designed to alter the fundamental laws of physics within their target area. "They still think this is about technology," Aisha murmured. "Initiate full neural sync." Across the globe, in secure facilities hidden from alien sensors, thousands of humans entered deep meditation states. Their consciousness, amplified and combined through the quantum network, created something unprecedented: a unified field of human thought and creativity that no artificial intelligence could predict or counter. The Kraxan's reality warping weapons fired, but instead of finding stable space-time to manipulate, they encountered a quantum field infused with human consciousness. The effects were immediate and devastating. "Neural field is holding," reported Dr. Victor Rossi, Aisha's colleague and the architect of the consciousness integration system. "Their weapons can't get a lock on baseline reality because we're actively rewriting quantum states faster than their computers can calculate." This was humanity's true secret weapon. While the Kraxan relied on mathematical precision and predictable algorithms, humans had learned to harness the inherent uncertainty of their own consciousness. The neural network didn't just defend against attacks, it created possibilities that shouldn't exist. "Multiple Kraxan ships experiencing critical failures," announced a tactical officer. "Their reality warping fields are being reflected back at them." On the displays, alien vessels began to distort as their own weapons' effects were turned against them by the quantum field of human consciousness. The Kraxan's perfectly ordered battle plans dissolved into chaos as they faced something their tactical computers couldn't categorize: human imagination weaponized on a quantum scale. "They're launching their bioweapons," Victor warned. "Engineered viruses designed to rewrite human DNA." "Shift the neural network to organic paradigm," Aisha commanded. The thousands of linked minds adjusted their collective focus, turning their attention to the microscopic level. The quantum field generated by human consciousness began interacting with the biological realm. The Kraxan's bioweapons, encountering human immune systems enhanced by quantum consciousness, didn't just fail. They evolved into harmless forms. The aliens watched in disbelief as their supposedly perfect biological weapons were transformed by the same creative force that had driven human evolution. Message from the Kraxan flagship, General Chen reported. They're demanding to know how we're doing this. Aisha smiled. Send them the truth. Tell them we've turned human consciousness itself into a weapon. Let them try to calculate the possibilities of that. The neural network continued to expand its influence, each linked mind adding new dimensions of unpredictability to the quantum defense field. The Kraxan's attempts to analyze and counter the effect only made it stronger as human consciousness adapted to and incorporated their every strategy. Their fleet is falling back, Victor announced. Long-range sensors show multiple ships experiencing catastrophic systems failures. Their quantum cores can't handle the feedback from our consciousness field. But victory had its price. The human consciousness donors were exhausting themselves, their minds strained by the effort of maintaining the quantum field. Aisha watched their vital signs with concern, knowing they couldn't maintain this level of defense indefinitely. General, she called out, if we're going to end this, it needs to be soon. The human mind wasn't meant to operate on this scale for extended periods. On the tactical displays, the Kraxan fleet's perfect formation had completely broken down. Ships moved erratically, their crews unable to cope with a defense that seemed to violate the laws of physics themselves. The aliens had finally encountered something their superior technology couldn't overcome, the infinite possibilities of human consciousness. As the battle reached its crescendo, Aisha realized humanity had discovered something far more valuable than victory. They had found a way to turn their greatest gift, their unique consciousness, into a force that could reshape reality itself. The question was, could they control what they had unleashed? Victory through unity. The fate of Earth hung in the quantum balance. As the Kraxan fleet regrouped for one final assault, humanity faced its greatest challenge, not just winning the war, but winning it without losing themselves in the process. Dr. Maya Patel, who had first uncovered the Kraxan's deception, stood in the Global Command Center alongside General Chen, Colonel Rodriguez, and Captain Santos. On screens around them, Dr. Raman's neural network continued to hold the line, but the strain on the consciousness donors was reaching critical levels. The Kraxan are consolidating their remaining ships, Maya reported, studying the quantum sensor readings. They're combining their reality warping technology into a single massive weapon. They're desperate, Rodriguez observed. They know they can't win conventionally, so they're willing to risk tearing apart the fabric of space-time itself. Through the neural network, they could sense the alien fleet's building energy. The Kraxan had abandoned their precise, mathematical approach in favor of raw power. They intended to create a cascading reality distortion that would overwhelm even human consciousness-enhanced defenses. Dr. Raman, General Chen called out, status of the neural network. Aisha's voice came through, strained but determined. The consciousness donors are at their limit. If we push them any harder, we risk permanent damage to their minds. That was the choice humanity faced. Push their greatest weapon to potentially destructive levels, or risk losing everything to the Kraxan's final gambit. It was the kind of impossible decision that had faced human leaders throughout history. Then Maya noticed something in the quantum readings, a pattern she had seen before. The Kraxan weapon, she said suddenly. It's based on the same principles as their ship engines. The same technology we first discovered in that crashed scout ship. Captain Santos caught on immediately. Which means it has the same fundamental flaw. It can't handle unpredictable quantum states. But our neural network is weakening, Rodriguez pointed out. We don't have enough consciousness donors left to generate the necessary quantum interference. General Chen studied the tactical display for a long moment. Then she smiled. We don't need more donors. We need all of humanity. The plan came together quickly. Using Earth's communications infrastructure, they'd broadcast a simple message to every human on the planet. Think, dream, create, imagine. The neural network wasn't just for trained donors. It could tap into the quantum potential of every human mind. As the Kraxan weapon reached full power, humanity responded. Billions of minds, each adding their own unique quantum signature to the consciousness field. Artists imagined impossible colors. Musicians composed symphonies of reality. Scientists contemplated the fundamental laws of physics. Children dreamed of dragons and starships. The neural network, supported by billions rather than thousands, expanded beyond anything its creators had envisioned. The quantum field generated by human consciousness grew until it enveloped the entire planet in a shield of pure creative potential. When the Kraxan fired their reality-warping weapon, it encountered not just a defense, but an explosion of human imagination. The quantum field didn't just resist the attack, it transformed it, channeling the enormous energy through the lens of billions of human minds. The effect was beyond anything either side had anticipated. The Kraxan weapon's energy, filtered through human consciousness, created a cascade of quantum possibilities. Their ships found themselves trapped in a reality shaped by human dreams and determination. Message from the Kraxan flagship, Maya announced. They're surrendering. The alien fleet, their ultimate weapon turned into a demonstration of humanity's true power, had finally understood. They hadn't just been fighting Earth's military forces. They had been fighting against the collective will of an entire species that refused to be conquered. As the Kraxan ships powered down their weapons, Dr. Raman's voice came through one final time. The neural network is stabilizing. The consciousness field, it's not disappearing. It's becoming permanent. Humanity had done more than win a war. They had evolved, discovering a power that had always existed within their minds. The ability to shape reality through collective consciousness wasn't just a weapon. It was the next step in human development. Send a message to the Kraxan, General Chen ordered. Tell them Earth is willing to accept their surrender and to discuss terms for a lasting peace. Maya typed out the message, adding one final line. And remind them that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to unite, to adapt, and to imagine possibilities that even advanced aliens never dreamed of. As the sun rose over Earth's quantum-shrouded surface, humanity stood not just victorious, but transformed. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through the one force the Kraxan had never thought to analyze: the infinite creative potential of the human mind. The war was over. The next chapter of human evolution was about to begin.